Hi, everyone, and welcome to Rural Roots, a road less traveled, a podcast by North Country Healthcare.
We're your hosts. I'm Gavin Cook.
And I'm Ren Anderson, and we're so glad you're here. Gavin, we have Darrell Bodnar here with us today.
Yes, we do. Darrell is our Chief Information Officer at NCH. And Darrell, welcome.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. It's finally great to be one in line on this very popular podcast.
Absolutely. And we were talking a little bit before we started about, you've certainly done podcasts before, so we were eager to have you on with us. So thank you again for joining. But I think, to kick things off, Darrell, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came into your current role with NCH and kind of your journey thus far?
Well, I will say mine is probably one of the more unique cases of how I came to North Country Healthcare. Um, During my high school days, I was adamant that I was going to be a chef. I love cooking. I still love cooking to this day. And I followed a path that was leading me to Johnson and Wales for culinary arts. And I'd done some high school classes that were really great, and we had a pretty robust program at White Mountains Regional. But as time went on, I started to get jobs in commercial kitchens, and I found out I did not like commercial cooking at all. I love cooking, but I hated commercial cooking. So I had to pivot really quickly. This was just before graduation. So I ended up taking a job at Weeks Medical Center at the time, in their laundry department, and in it was laundry and materials management. And I found out I really, really liked healthcare. I love the people. I love the environment. And even then, it was very much about the patient. It was always focused on the patient. But I also like technology, and there was a job opening within the organization as a network engineer. I had done some play with it for a little while, so I decided to do it. I applied for the job, I got it, and continued my education and going through. And God, now the rest is history. I think I am at 37 years. I've been at some
Wow.
form or another within North Country Healthcare, and
Wow.
I love it every single day.
Well, two things. What a testament to North Country Healthcare on really growing its garden and finding people who want to be there and nurturing those passions and finding a place for you. So shout out to our HR department for continuing to do that today, but also having that foresight 37 years ago to make sure that you were on the path that made sense for you.
It did, and it wasn't the path I thought of. My son struggled a lot with his trying to find his path. I said, "Your path will find you. Just keep going along," and it's finding him. It slowly is, and I think it's a really good opportunity. And I think at North Country Healthcare, the opportunities abound. There is no ceiling within the organization. You can just continue to grow horizontally or vertically, depending on
Yeah.
where you want to be.
Yeah. Well, I also started my career in culinary, Darrell. I went to the Balsams up in Dixville Notch to culinary school. And like you, the kitchens just didn't seem, that burnout was really apparent. And it just didn't seem where I was going to be happy, where I was going to be able to make an impact on people, which is what I love most about my job. And I think that probably resonates with you and how much you care for your team and the patients, and that's what you're working for every day. In 30 years, what are some of the biggest changes you've seen in health information technology, especially in recent years?
Oh
We've
yeah, I
been
was
in,
gonna say if we went back, remember I'm of the age of Y2K, so I can tell you some of the things that I went
yeah.
through over a period of time. But most recently, and in the advancements that I've seen that continue to abound are really related to the advancements of certain technologies. I think what we've done with a standardized EMR, as much as people still struggle to realize that we were on 5 different EMRs 5 years ago, it was a very, very difficult challenge. No standardization, information exchange was very, very difficult. There was no continuity of care for the patients. It was a real struggle. So I think as we've moved through that, and that's not an easy undertaking to collapse 5 EMRs into a single, and
And
instill.
Darrell, what is an EMR?
Good question.
Yeah,
Electronic medical record. So
gotcha.
this is the foundation for probably all the care that we delivered from an electronic perspective. Um, I think some other things that we've looked at. I love the age of AI, artificial intelligence. As we continue to advance within that, we've developed a responsible adoption of AI, which
Mm.
really puts us into a position to make sure we're doing things cautiously and in the patient's best interest. But it's such a great opportunity now. I'm a big tech fan, and this will go down. But I just started playing with ChatGPT 5 last night, and I don't know if anybody's had the opportunity to
Not
play with
yet.
this at all. But it's absolutely fascinating, and the impact this is going to continue to have on healthcare is amazing. Um, Ambient voice technology is most recent. Seeing that, so this means these are the conversations where a provider can just speak to a patient in a room. No laptop, no anything. They're having a general conversation about their care, and the documentation is occurring in the background. I think we have around 25 providers that are currently enrolled with this. The goal is to get almost all of them in place. We're now deploying it in the emergency room. To me, it's a game changer for the providers in terms of what they have to do, not only with the accuracy of documentation, but just the burden.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, we think about AI dehumanizing things, but this sounds like a opportunity for it to really make that interaction just so much more human and patient focused.
It is the latest release from OpenAI has a model where it's called Health Bench, and it's geared specifically to help that gap. So if you have a symptom, you can describe the symptom. It will help you determine what that might mean. It will then classify the items into more of a bulleted list and give you information that you should ask your provider. So it encourages you to go to the provider. But sometimes when you're with the provider, you don't always think of all the things that are going on. So this sort of provides a guide to say that this is what it's impacting me. And it's not replacing; it's actually making that bond even tighter with the provider to get more accuracy in place and to help somebody who may not be able to articulate their symptoms very well. Just touching on the fringes of this, but I absolutely love it.
And Darrell, I think just out of my own curiosity, what do you think? Obviously, we know there's challenges with AI, and what do you think some of those bigger challenges are for our staff's knowledge or patients' knowledge? Um, Anything we should be concerned about with AI or anything like that?
Well,
Great
there's a
question.
lot of things we should be concerned about with AI. So,
Yeah.
so I'll first go into the benefits and where I see some of the work. I mean, we've been using artificial intelligence and machine learning for years. We've used it in imaging to help in breast mammography. This is not something new. It's more the large language models that are coming into place, and that's what you'll see in these GPTs. This really broke the ice and made it more of a consumer driven than it was historically a more of a technology stack.
Mm.
We've used things like Dragon Naturally Speaking for years on the back end, where providers would then dictate and it would transcribe. This is just another iteration of that when it comes to the large language models. The advancements that will really make an impact are when we're looking at some of the predictive analytics that it can do and some of the advancements as we go forward. I think you'll see I think you'll see it embedded in many EMRs to help guide the providers, nursing staff along the way. Um, the risks are bias and it coming into play. You don't know what the large language models have in place. You don't know how they were built. So transparency and the bias that's created, there's bias in everything we do. But when you're trying to leverage it to say use revenue cycle to make sure that you're looking at things in a way that doesn't impose additional bias against a patient or a family or anything. Decision making is a big part of it, and you don't want it to. There was a part of my studies that I went through recently talked about how the UK had an issue with housing, and there was bias built into who was getting housing by age and by race. It was unknown to the groups that were doing it. So you have to be really, really aware and make sure there's transparency around it. But to your point, Gavin, to me that is one of the biggest risks that we see. I do not think that AI is going to take over the planet. I don't think we're all going to become robots to it. But I do think that there's opportunity for risk, and we just have to go in it with our eyes wide open.
And what do you think people working in healthcare, what are some precautions that they could take to make sure that they were at least always cognizant or that was in the back of their mind? What are some questions they should ask themselves when they're interacting with AI?
I think I would ask many questions, and I would make sure that when you're doing your prompt engineering is the conversation you have, ask very specific things. In fact, build a list of things so that you can try to tease out why that decision was made or why that guidance was given. I think that in doing so, if you're very, very careful, you'll get a truthful answer. You just have to be very, very cautious. If you ask a very general question, one thing, I would not base it on the sole truth. Just as a search on a search engine, you can get different results depending on how you do it. You look for trusted sources of truth. I believe the open AI models are very, very good, but you need to make sure that you ask questions because a lot of it is web-based. Probably the biggest risk with AI I've seen recently that could impact anybody is we've all been through phishing attempts and attacks, and we've seen those come through. The introduction of AI, they are getting very, very good. These are very intelligent people, and they're building very, very the models that they're using and the creation of the interactions with people are so realistic that people can't tell what's truth and what isn't. I've seen some recently that are just, I can see why people would get tripped up. So use caution. If you shouldn't have gotten that email or if you shouldn't have gotten that text and it looks odd, it probably is odd.
Great advice.
And Darrell, I got to ask something. I keep hearing you say we. I know personally we work with Tyler. I know he's a member of your team, and he's been a great help to us. But can you, again, just for my own knowledge, I'd love to know kind of how your team is built and kind of what each sector does, what their focus is, kind of their day to day. I'd love to know.
Well, I mean, we have a variety of people. We have currently we've now moved to 34 staff members, which was something I didn't think we had. But it covers a lot of different areas, so it's not just making sure the computers are on and things are happening. So we have a team of experts that work on infrastructure, hardware, those types of things that people use on a regular basis. We have clinical systems that we manage under that. We have a whole clinical team that works with our providers to help build the best EMR, electronic medical record, plus additional ancillary software. We have an analytics team that's built into that. We have a variety of people. We have help desk, general help desk. We have cybersecurity. Currently, our stack is around over 60 applications that we manage. I think we have over 3,500 devices that we are currently managing across all of our systems. We have, I think, 20 locations now, so we are expanding even more into some of these areas. And all of these systems tend to talk to each other in ways, so we have well over 100 integrations that occur on this. And I was referencing phishing attempts. We block around 30,000 phishing attempts a month. This is what comes in. And regular attacks that come in, there's over 100,000 per month. It's crazy the amount. And the automation that things like AI bring into it are going to make that even more difficult and more challenging. We just have to have better AI in the back end. We're using artificial intelligence now. It will be monitoring what our activity is right now, and it is analyzing that, and will hopefully give us. It will look for nefarious activity. So I mean, our team is big. It's good, but we keep busy. We've got 30 active projects right now in our portfolio, and usually 8 to 10 of those are in full steam in one way or another.
And when people are thinking about getting into healthcare IT, what are some skills that they could be working on beyond, learning the language, of course, but what are some other skills that you look for when you're hiring for your team?
Well, I mean, I think the first challenge we have is you'll look through a CV or a resume, and you'll find key points. And I think anytime that they've had technical experience, technical certifications, it brings it forth. If it depends on which model you're going for. If you're going to be in networking, then we're looking for specifics there. If you're looking for security, we're certainly looking for certifications or education there. I would think that in most cases, an associate's degree would be minimal, but we have hired some really good people based upon certifications and experience. So those are the types of things you would look for. During an interview, the first and foremost is customer service. We are a service industry. We have to make sure that is our utmost all the time, whether it's the end users or whether it's patients or whether it's the community. That has to be it. And we've actually not hired some people because they didn't feel like they were a right fit for that. They really I love passionate people. I love when people dedicate and want to come in every single day and do the right thing. And they look forward to that. And I think for the most part, I think our team does it. We all have good and bad days, but I think for the most part, people see that vision.
Great.
That's great. And I do just want to bounce back just a second. You mentioned, how many projects you have going on. I'd love to know if there's one that you're, extremely passionate about, you personally, one that kind of speaks to you or speaks to the heart, anything like that going on currently?
I mean, we continue to roll out new projects within AI. A recent one, we've come together. I love it when teams come together. So I've worked very, very closely with the clinical teams and the financial teams. Our oncology department has had some struggles of late, so we have spent some time digging in. And there's nothing better. I truly enjoy it to say that people are struggling. You see that, and you watch clinical and financial teams embed themselves within the department to understand where the challenges are and to find solutions to be able to make that better. I wish I could do that every single day, because to me that makes a difference. And if you've ever been around and seen patients who are coming into the oncology department, you know the struggles that they're going through. And God, we've got to make technology and everything work so well around them. They do not need to worry about those types of things, nor do the caregivers providing care for them. So I guess, I mean, that was this week, so that's just one of those projects that I absolutely love getting involved with. Larger ones that we go through, I think that, we've seen some advancements within our M365 Microsoft Office deployments. Microsoft Teams has accelerated and continues to accelerate into a variety of different applications. I don't know. I guess, Gavin, there's just always good projects out there, but oncology is probably the more recent one I'm excited about.
Well, and Darrell, you and I, from the grant perspective, have talked about when to get IT involved, and who is driving these projects. And I think you have some interesting insight because there that we've had in past conversations around IT not being the driver of the solution, but the support and the structure. Can you talk a little bit about that? And what should people do if they see a software that could change the game for them in their day to day? How do they get IT involved?
So, if somebody, to your first point, your first question is when I look at IT being a supportive model for this, we can drive the technology, but it's just that, it's technology. We most times do not know the workflows, the workloads that are involved. We don't know what the struggles are. We have hints of it, but you really need a good subject matter expert. When we upgraded and changed our cardiology partner, we made all the connectivity occur that was in place, and we helped with the systems. But we don't know the cardiology workflow. We had some great team members that say, we need to do this. This was a problem. We need to fix this. So that's what I mean by being driven by somebody else. Doesn't mean they do the work. They just need to provide the guidance, and that works out best. When I think about philanthropy or HR, I know nothing about any of those that are really going to do it. You're the subject matter experts. If you see a technology that we can use, I will do everything I can to help you implement that and use that. And to me, that's what I mean by a supportive role. Doesn't mean that we don't take on a large portion of those, and we have a pretty good project management process that's in place that works. So I think that is probably, when you look at that is probably the way I'd like to see projects unfold. To your second question, wondering how you could reach out to me directly if you have a technology that you want to use. You can open up a ticket. It will probably end up to me. I usually try to vet those out before I get the teams involved to make sure it's applicable or it's safe or it meets our minimum standards. And also to prevent it from being a duplicative effort, because we have many projects going on and people are unaware of what's going on. So making sure there's not duplicative efforts is another big part of it. But just have them reach out to me. Happy to help.
Yeah. Well, Gavin, in there, I really heard a lot about process, right? And that makes me think about the conversation that we just had with Bernie. So, Darrell, you must also see how that Lean Six Sigma and that process and that root cause mindset helps North Country Healthcare and makes it easier for you to do and your team to do the job if people understand their workflows and they understand why they're employing certain technology or asking for assistance too.
Yeah, first, I talk to Bernie all the time. We have conversations. We really try to. Bernie's taught me a lot. Let's say that just the models that he's used and how we look and get a perspective of things. But we created some dashboards as part of a goal that we had set this year, and it's so funny to watch that people say they want to create a dashboard and they want to see these elements. And as we craft that and we pull that out, we discover exactly how the workflows are sort of broken in this mix. They're not seeing the information the way they want it to. And that's to nobody's fault. We just go back through and we try to pivot and look, and that then impacts workflows, and that comes through. So if we're not capturing ED throughput in a certain way, or we're looking to measure the steps along the way, but somebody's not doing that, well, then we have to modify the workflow. We may have to modify the application itself to be able to capture it. And as we do that, it helps support the rest of the process. And Bernie loves it because you can just see that it starts to map out a process. And we may be only one section of a group, but we can certainly make a difference within that workflow. But yeah, I've been a process map person for a long time. Bernie has really made me become more of one, I guess.
That's great.
I love when we hear all these things just coming together and really putting color to what we just start to hear in these conversations. So thank you.
Of course.
And Gavin, we'd probably be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about Darrell's kind of outside the job description, one team, one mission championing. Do you have any questions to start there, Gavin?
Yeah, I think, honestly, our meetings that we hold biweekly, it's always nice to have your voice. I feel it's not only a strong voice, but it's, you bring different perspectives that I think a lot of times bring our teams together because we have our patient experience, our communication, and our employee experience team, which are three very different teams. So I'd love to get your feedback on how you think our One Team, One Mission initiative is going so far, and where you think it's headed.
Well, I have to say that when we first came together to do this, it was another one of the leadership. Matt Streeter had suggested, and Tom Mee had approved to say, Darrell, I think we want you to lead this. I'm like, I'm a CIO. What am I going to be doing leading this? And they said, well, you've had some tenure here. You understand it, and you really talk well to people, and you're passionate about what you do. You're passionate about the patients. You're passionate about the workforce. And I'm like, okay, I'm on board. I'll do whatever needs to be done. And as I started to go through and look at it, I was so happy that was a choice I made. We have amazing staff, and the premise behind looking at One Team, One Mission is to get the voice of the employees and the patients up in front. This is not supposed to be about top down, but this is bottom up. And when you watch an employee get excited about something that they're working on, something they're rolling out, and when we created our behavior standards and they were employee written, to see them come up and see the leadership say, those are good and those are from our people, that's what we need to do. So I think getting the voice of staff and patients up and visible is probably one of the biggest benefits, but also to build motivation, to see the collaboration that comes out of it. I think it's great. I think we're on a great trajectory. It's hard to believe that it will be coming up on a year that this has been rolled out, and I'm excited for the year two. We were discussing our action plans for the next year, which I'm like, it's challenging to put those together. It takes a lot of work. To your point, Gavin, we meet frequently. I meet with a lot of the groups on a regular basis, but we've got a lot of individuals who are enthusiastic to work, and we just need to keep teasing that out. We need to give them the ability, the time. So I think time is a big factor where we are. So the fact that NCH supports them spending time doing this is a big thing. But yeah, I absolutely love the One Team, One Mission model. I love the leaders that are involved with it, and I love every member of it, and I like seeing the impact that it's having on those. It's all about patients and staff every single step of the way.
Well, Gavin, I know that one team, one mission definitely brought us together and helped us,
Yes.
break down those silos to create this podcast. So already seeing the effects in little ways for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think I do want to pinpoint another word you just mentioned, which was motivation.
Mm.
I think we all kind of have it in our day-to-day, work life and even outside of work. But I'd love to know what keeps you, Darrell, motivated and coming back every day to work and strong for your team. What kind of grinds your gears to keep you going?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, it's the patience. It truly is every single day. You all know we have a very captive audience in the North Country of New Hampshire. So the people that come into our facilities, we see in the stores, we see them out doing things. You watch their children grow up, you see a variety of things. To me, that is just part of that community, and the patience is important. But we have 1,100 staff members now that are looking for ways to improve the world around them. And I think that's the goal. Every single day we're here to make it a little better than it was the day before. Every day we should just say, wait, and truly, I wake up every morning and say, what am I going to do to make things better? And can I find one individual, either through a hello or something, that I can make their day better? And if you do that every single day, and God, we have 1,100 people. If 1,100 people do that every single day, this world is going to be a much better place. And I don't think there's any challenge that we can't overcome based on that team, that group together. So I think it's all of it. I'm blessed. I'm truly blessed to get up every single day and have the opportunity to make an impact on the people around us. That's not always something somebody's able to do. And to me, that's what motivates me. That's what drives me every single day. It's always the ability to do something. As I said earlier, some days are better than others. There's no doubt about that. But overall, I tend to look. I always am trying to look forward, but it's nice to look over your shoulder and see what you've accomplished. The last 5 years of North Country Healthcare have done some amazing things, and I see that trajectory just continuing to go. So yeah, every day I love my job. I love the people I work with. I love the people we serve.
It's a great answer. Great answer. Well, I think, kind of wrapping things up here, is there anything you would like to plug as we've been kind of ending our spiel here? Anything you want to mention that we didn't discuss? I will open the floor to you.
No, I think we've covered a lot of things. I just have to say that the leadership teams that I've worked with, and this is all of them, are truly great leaders. They are trying their best to do things, and they are making a difference. And you can tell because the people that are following them are enthusiastic. They're exciting. I think we just need to keep moving forward. There are some headwinds coming our way that are going to be challenging for healthcare. And as I mentioned before, if we stick together and we are aligned, there's nothing we can't overcome. I think that's it, Gavin.
Great.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Darrell. And we look forward to seeing you in the hallways and in our Zoom rooms as we continue working together.
Thank you so much for having me. This is truly a privilege to be here. I appreciate it.
Man, Gavin, every time I talk to Darrell, I just get so energized, and you can tell how passionate he is about serving patients and serving the people who serve patients. Just a really inspiring interview.
Yeah, I've worked with him on a few projects outside, and most recently I worked with him on the restructuring of his leadership in his team. And I think, like he said, at the end of the day, he's so passionate about what it comes down to at the end of the day, which is those patients. He's making these changes on his team because he knows it's all for the patient.
Yeah.
And that restructure process was so smooth. He worked so graciously with all the members of our HR team that were involved. And yeah, even our work that we do with him on a biweekly basis for the one team, one mission, it's incredible. He's great.
He is. Oh, and he didn't plug it, but he also has his own business outside of North Country Healthcare, the Copper Pig Brewery, which has been such a wonderful supporter for the work that we do with the North Country Home Health and Hospice Agency Gala. He's the sponsor, one of the sponsors for the Lancaster Street Fair 5K. So he just gives back to his community in so many ways over and over again.
Absolutely. And I also just recently learned about his photography background.
Yeah.
It is incredible work that he had. He showed me some and I was like stunned at the it's incredible.
Yeah.
But
And then he paints too.
yeah,
What does
right.
this man not do?
Right. Yeah, he's great. And yeah, what a great conversation that
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking forward to our next guest,
Very
Greg.
special
Yes,
guest to you,
yes,
huh?
yes. Greg Cook. He's my father. I try not to put that out there all the time, and not for any bad reason, but more of just the professional standards.
Mm,
But Greg is the CEO and president of Upper Connecticut Valley Hospital in Colebrook. It is our smallest of our affiliates, but they are mighty. They are a mighty team up
sure.
there. He's done a lot of good work. I think he's been on board for just about 2 years coming up this fall. So really excited for that conversation. I'm hoping I can learn something about him that maybe I didn't know, but we'll see.
All right. Well, we'll come up with some real good questions, some hard-hitting
Yeah,
questions for him. What have you always
absolutely.
been afraid to ask, Dad?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we should avoid that.
All right. Well, until next time, I'm Ren Anderson.
And I'm Gavin, and this is Rural Roots, a road less traveled.